Do you dislike vacuuming or mopping? Or maybe you are drowning in pet hair, or you had an old robot vacuum that was absolute trash and so you don't trust the new ones. Well, if any of those situations are you, then I definitely have a new solution for you, and that is the Dreame Aqua10 Ultra Roller. Now, full disclosure here, I have been using Dreame for about a year and a half. They've been my daily driver. I just think they are excellent robot vacuums, and the obstacle avoidance is second to none. And thankfully, the Aqua10 actually starts to improve on this even more. So when Dreame reached out to partner for this video, I jumped at the opportunity because I absolutely love the Dreame robot vacuums that I've had. You might have seen robot vacuums that mop, and typically they're gonna use those two mop pads and they just spin around. And those actually do a pretty good job. They have to go back to the base and they clean those mops. Roller mops are relatively new to the robot vacuum game. This is Dreame's first model that has one, and I think they're just far superior to the spinning mops. The rollers are just so much better, and the Aqua10 kind of takes it to another level here. So on their roller, they actually have a 12 nozzle spray system that is delivering fresh water to that roller, and it's also scraping it to get the dirty water off. So on board that robot vacuum, they have two tanks, one for fresh water, one for dirty water. You can also adjust the amount of pressure that that roller mop is pressing down. And so in the app, you can select from 3 different ones, or you can let the robot vacuum decide for itself. And this thing does an excellent job mopping. It's spinning at 100 RPMs, and it does an excellent job mopping the floors, getting them incredibly clean, as you can see from dumping out the dirty water, and then even checking the floor afterwards, and it is just spotless. It does a phenomenal job. I'll also mention that you can actually segregate out these tasks. If you just want it to mop, it can actually lift its vacuum and just mop, or it could just vacuum and it'll lift the mop, and does a great job doing this and actually guarding that roller. So if it's going over carpets or something like that, it's not gonna be dragging a damp roller over a carpet and getting it wet. Or you can vacuum and then mop, or you can vacuum and mop at the same time, which is typically what I do in my house. So when it's out of clean water or has too much dirty water, then it's gonna go back to the base, it's gonna empty out its dirty water, it's gonna get its clean water put in, it's gonna clean that roller mop, and also it can dispense 2 different types of detergent into the water, which is pretty neat. This is like really nitty gritty, but I think this is pretty neat. It also has this roller that is actively fluffing the mop at the same time as it's mopping. So if you've had like those pads on robot vacuums before, they'll just kind of totally flatten out over time. So this is pretty neat that they have this little roller in there. It spins at 1,000 RPM, and it helps loosen that mop pad as it's coming in contact with the floor. It's pretty neat. Now, just because this robot vacuum is incredible at mopping does not mean it's a slouch in other areas or you have to compromise. So yes, the roller is amazing. It can even slide out to the side to make sure you're mopping right along edges. It does an incredible job, especially going around cords and stuff like that, but we'll get into the obstacle avoidance. But it is no slouch when it comes to vacuuming or getting over obstacles. So if you have a double layer threshold, it can get over 2 4-centimeter thresholds. Or if you just have one threshold, it can do 4.2 centimeters for one threshold. This has come in really handy for me. I have some pretty high thresholds, 3/4 of an inch to an inch in different areas of my house, and it's able to just go over them absolutely no problem. It reminds me of the X50, which is the robot vacuum that I currently have, which is the model before this one. Very similar to that, does an amazing job with those high thresholds. So in this upgraded model, they're claiming that they have an NVIDIA chip inside, and it's using AI and these 2 cameras, and they're claiming that you can get obstacle avoidance down to 1 millimeter. I already thought Dreame's obstacle avoidance was the best, which is why I was using them in my home, because I kind of have this philosophy around robot vacuums is that the best one for your house is the one that can continuously run without you constantly having to get involved. And for me, that was Dreame. I've got kids' toys everywhere. We had dog hair everywhere. And consistently, Dreame was just the best at navigating everything and also emptying out that vacuum of all that dog hair. And I'm happy to report that the Aqua10 is no different. It does an amazing job navigating around toys, especially cords. It's very good at picking up cords, getting really close to them, which kind of makes me nervous, without actually sucking them into the brush. That little side brush makes me nervous as well. Something neat about the side brush is that it can also swing out. This is not new. Their older robot vacuums have had this as well. So both the mop and that side brush can swing out to the side. You can get right along walls or cabinets or anything like that to get almost every area of your house vacuumed and mopped. Now their X50 had this, and the Aqua10 also has it. If you've got low furniture, it can actually lower its LiDAR unit to get under that furniture. So they call this VersaLift, but that LiDAR can go up and down, which is pretty neat. It'll also use this same technology to get under curtains. So a lot of times you'd have curtains hanging down and then the LiDAR would hit it, it would sense it, it would say, hey, that's probably a wall or something. Well, you can mark in the app, hey, there are curtains here. And then the robot vacuum will actually lower the LiDAR and it'll just run underneath those curtains, just maximizing the area that it is vacuuming and mopping. Now, Dreame continues to innovate. All this stuff is just incredible. But something neat that it also does is sometimes if you're vacuuming and mopping, depending on what happens, maybe you accidentally vacuum up a little bit of water if there was a spill or something like that. And then when the robot vacuum goes back to the base and empties itself, you could get moisture into that bag in the base. And Dreame has thought of that, and they actually dry the bag as well. So it's gonna come back to the base, it's gonna empty itself out, it's gonna dry the mop, of course, and it's gonna dry that vacuum bag, which I think is pretty neat and pretty innovative. Like I said, this thing is no slouch, even just on the vacuuming, and they're claiming 30,000 pascals of suction. In all of my testing over my carpets and my hard floor, it has picked up absolutely everything that I want it to pick up without any issue. And I'm not even running this thing on max. I don't like the loud noise. So I just kind of keep it on that standard suction and it does a fine job and the battery life is really good. Going a little bit deeper on the vacuuming side here, it has this dual brush design. They did this on the X50 as well. They're also tapered. So hair, if it gets tangled on those brushes, will be moved to the inlet of the actual dustbin so that it's not getting tangled around those brushes. And it works extremely well. On the X50, I've had no issues with the hair getting tangled anywhere. It just moves it right to the dustbin without any problem. So I've mentioned the base and I told you a little bit about, it's got the clean water. It also has the wastewater as well. It's gonna come from the robot vacuum. It has 2 types of detergent that you can put in there. It's gonna dry your mop. It's gonna wash your mop. It does all kinds of things. Also, depending on where you live, there is a hookup kit to where you could actually hook this up to a water supply and to a drain so that you don't have to remember to constantly fill up and empty the clean and dirty water. But probably my favorite part about these bases is that you don't have to remember to empty your robot vacuum every day or every week. It is emptying itself into a bag in that bin and you can get weeks out of that thing. When we had dogs with the dog hair all over the house, I could get about 6 weeks in a bag, which is pretty impressive because those dogs were generating like 1 squirrel of fur per day. And yeah, so it could go for about 6 weeks. If you do not have dogs, it can go much longer than that, just depending on, your mileage is gonna vary here, depending on how filthy your house is. I have a bunch of little kids that are constantly tracking stuff in, and I can easily go longer than 6 weeks between bags. I alluded to the app a little bit, but it's great. No major upgrades or changes here from kind of the previous iterations, but it does quick mapping, of course, so it can map your home in 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the size, which is great. And then it's gonna take a stab at splitting up the house. You can edit everything, you can join rooms, you can separate them. Like I said, you can add curtains, you can add thresholds, all kinds of things. It's really almost infinitely customizable in the app as far as scheduling when you want this thing to vacuum and mop and on what day and at what time. And you can set quiet hours so that if it was running and then it goes back to charge, but then it goes past 10 p.m., it's not gonna start again until, let's say, 8 a.m. the next morning. It's very nice. And the last thing I'll mention here is that it actually supports Matter protocol. So if you're into like smart home stuff, then this is gonna pertain to you mostly for controlling this robot. For me, I'm just using the app. I set up a schedule and then I kind of set it, I forget about it, and I'm running this thing 2 times a day, every day, and it's doing a great job. Links to everything will be in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching Break It Yourself. I know you've got tons of options of videos that you could be watching on YouTube, and you chose this one, and you even watched this far, which is very rare. So thank you so much. As always, don't forget to thumbs me up, and we will see you next time.